Hello, good afternoon. My name is Tracy Drake, and I'm here to discuss my research project. To conduct my research, I gathered several scholarly journal articles on William Jennings Bryan. In my literature review, I chose to document each source chronologically, hoping to see a progression of information on my topic. Given that my topic expands across a field of ideas, like Bryan's oratory speeches and his policies in big government, my research was not focused on one, but instead on many details of the political career of William Jennings Bryan. The earliest sources I was able to find actually dates back to 1900, but was not published under the author's name until 1949. The most recent work that I was able to obtain is dated 2018, but currently I have been unable to find a work more recent than that. This research will fill in missing bits of information that will enable me to paint a clear picture of William Jennings Bryan and the policies that he promoted through his original style of rhetoric. I want to share one of the sources that introduces a little background information on William Jennings Bryan. Willa Cather's article, The Personal Side of William Jennings Bryan, was published in 1949, and it was her second study on Bryan. Cather's original study was published July 14, 1900, under a pen name Henry Nickelman. Cather had personally met Bryan while he was stumping in Red Cloud, Nebraska. In her article, Cather captures the early years of Bryan's oratory career. Cather notes how Bryan's oratory, quote, took hold as it did at the convention and how his nomination was entirely unsought. However, Cather does not center her study around Bryan's nomination or around his candidacy, but instead she focuses her research on Bryan's personal life. Cather points out that before graduating at the top of his class in 1881, Bryan met and courted his classmate Mary Elizabeth Bard. Even though Bryan graduated valedictorian, Bard also graduated with like honors. The two, Bryan 20 years old and Bard a mere 19 years old, spent their courtship enjoying the same thing, reading. According to Cather, both had a love of reading history, fiction, philosophy, and poetry. In fact, Cather explains, quote, the days of their courtship were spent among books and often passed in conversations upon dry subjects that would terrify most women. After a short 4-year courtship, William and Mary Elizabeth married on October the 1st, 1884. The Bryans lived in Illinois for a time before moving to Lincoln, Nebraska, where Bryan began his political career. After moving to Lincoln, Bryan quickly established a successful legal practice with a former classmate and Republican, Adolphus Talbot. Although Mary Elizabeth never practiced law, she involved herself in Bryan's work. Cather asserted that, quote, she has never practiced law, but when her husband began to mingle in politics, many of the duties of the law office fell upon her. While Mary Elizabeth worked closely with her husband, she isolated herself from society. In fact, according to Cather, Mary Elizabeth was rarely seen in public aside from attending political meetings and university lectures. On the other hand, Bryan had developed a reputation for his oratory skills. Cather concludes her study by stating that Bryan is, quote, an orator, pure and simple, certainly the greatest in America today. Now, there were many more articles that were reviewed for my topic. However, I am only sharing one out of respect for your time. Out of the articles I chose to review, I feel that I have researched across a span of literature that adds to my own study. With the sources that I have gleaned, I am now able to paint a clear picture of how Bryan entered the political scene. The details that I have allows me to show Bryan's life leading into politics, as well as they offer my research insights into the political climate of 1896, the first year of his nomination candidacy. Given the information that I have gleaned, I am able to more thoroughly discuss the policies that Bryan stood for and ran on. Also, I'll be able to elaborate on how Bryan conducted himself in the public office positions that he held. These new sources round out my research encompassing Bryan's political career and his mark that was made in history. As I complete my research, I hope to find answers to my research questions. I am excited to learn how his speeches impacted the voting pool in the Democratic Party. Furthermore, I am curious to learn how Bryan's adopted belief of silver minting helped to eliminate an otherwise up-and-coming third-party platform. Bryan's rhetoric was unprecedented, and it will be interesting to learn the margins of loss in his campaigns. With his speech's popularity, I would like to uncover why Bryan not only lost his first campaign, but also the two subsequent campaigns. My research will also unveil what was important to the American people and the political climate of the time. Politics has been my number one interest in history. I find campaigns and the people who stand on them interesting to learn about. Moreover, I believe that understanding the politics of a time period reveals the condition of the nation. Politics can control the destiny of our nation, and understanding that is important. Thank you for watching my video blog.